cameras are rolling. Everything is rolling. Are you rolling, Augustas?
I don't know, but I'm excited that EuroLeague started. Yesterday was a fun party in Kaunas, in Zalgiris Arena. Zalgiris won against Barcelona.
Yeah.
And it might come as a surprise for some people, but
Yeah.
I actually expected the win. So the atmosphere was quite okay, I would say. Room to improve, but just excited that EuroLeague is back. And this morning, rewatching all the EuroLeague, not all the other games. I couldn't manage to do that, in a couple of hours. But I'm excited.
The
for
key
the season.
ones, the key ones that we're gonna talk about. As you probably have noticed, the middle seat is vacant at the moment.
Yeah, nobody.
The EuroLeague fever has gotten one of our buddies, Donatas URBONUS, unfortunately. He's been battling the EuroLeague fever this whole week.
I have another question for you.
Yeah?
Where is Rytis?
Probably at home. I don't know. I have no idea where he is, but he wasn't able to attend today's podcast.
PAO won, so...
That's one of the reasons, probably, yeah. But to be honest with you, also, I was very excited that the EuroLeague is now finally starting. I guess the three games that were the most surprising were the three home teams that won. I'm talking about Bayern, Zalgiris, and Baskonia, because I feel like they all were the underdogs in those matchups. So from this first game day, for me, those were the games that were the most surprising. What about yourself? Is it the same ones you're looking at?
Absolutely. Bayern winning at home against Madrid definitely was probably the most exciting game.
Yeah.
And but we are not going to talk about that one because
we haven't watched it properly this amount
is
of
why
time.
It was exciting. We did not expect this win. We did not expect to have to be talking about this one. But Zalgiris for sure and Baskonia Partizan was definitely interesting because two quite different teams from last season. So we are going to talk about that one, Panathinaikos and Zalgiris Barcelona, as well as the players ranking.
Yeah, there's the top 10 EuroLeague players ranking that came out on our website, BasketNews.com, and also a 3-part EuroLeague GM survey that Donatas URBONUS has done. So we'll talk about
exciting, I would say some interesting answers there. Not exciting, but interesting answers there.
Yeah, surprising picks, I would say, yeah. But let's just start with the game, I guess, that started the EuroLeague season. That is ALBA Berlin against Panathinaikos. It's our first look at the defending champions. They started the season where they ended the last season in the same Uber arena. I remember having my camera around, surrounded by Panathinaikos fans outside the arena after the game. We saw some fans traveling there, so the support was there. And I guess we saw the defending champions against what we consider the weakest team in the EuroLeague, or what we predict to be the last team in the EuroLeague this season, but only a 10-point win. Panathinaikos having to deal with this resilient ALBA the whole game. So what do you think were the reasons that Panathinaikos never managed to break away for sure and just get the game done with in the first half, let's say?
To me, first of all, I was a little bit disappointed that actually the opening game of the season, like last year, we had the
derby,
Panathinaikos and Olympiacos, and of course, with PAO being, with that roster, it was super interesting. Now you have defending champions playing in Berlin against a Eurocup team, to be honest, and so I think it's really hard to tell anything about Panathinaikos from this game. First of all, ALBA is a very particular team. They're playing the next defense that almost nobody uses in the EuroLeague. Offensively, they're playing a lot of off-ball actions, a lot of cutting. So,
what do you mean by this defense that nobody uses? Like
next defense?
Yeah.
It's like if Panathinaikos plays a pick and roll, and there's like two men involved, two defenders, a third guy comes from the strong side, and he's like going towards the ball handler. The next person. That's why it's called the next defense.
Okay.
So the next guy comes in, takes the ball handler, So like trying to intimidate him, to surprise him, and he has to make a quick decision whether to pass out the ball. But if you pass the ball really quick, you get wide open shots. And that's what Panathinaikos did early throughout the game. But at the same time, it was a crazy game. It was a weird game, I would say, because PAO went up like by 12, 11 points 6 or 7 times in this match. Then ALBA just scored 6 unanswered, 8 unanswered. It comes back to 4. And I thought, the Greeks could have just closed out the game way earlier if they took this match more seriously. And what I mean by that, sometimes if you are like defending champion, I think you can, you play to the level of your opponent sometimes because you are that good, or the opponent is that average or that bad. If the opponent is playing at this level, you kind of play, at this level that ALBA offered. And then in the end, you're just going to win. Because if Panathinaikos played, let's say, I don't know, Fener in round 1, I think...
You think the level of play
the level would have been
yeah.
different, because what I saw from them on defense, for example, like Slukas, when he came on the court, Juancho, they were so relaxed. Kendrick Nunn was so relaxed throughout the game. Like, he got hot in the 4th quarter, scoring 4 points, plus 12. And then on the defensive side, he just loses his man twice in a row, gets 6 points back, and then it's a timeout, and we are again in this situation where it's like, we know PAO is better, okay? And they're just not closing out the game. So I think it's really hard to tell anything about Panathinaikos from this match, because they were kind of struggling in the preseason. And now it's an opponent that doesn't really match their level.
Yeah. And I would say it was interesting to see those rotations in the first place, because we know Ataman, he likes to go to his, 8 main guys usually when it comes to the, postseason, when it comes to the playoffs, Final Four, and towards the end of the season usually. But at this moment, he's, I think, still trying to find the right guys, who's going to be the right combinations of players. And, the starting lineup itself, you see Kendrick Nunn and Lorenzo Brown starting. We kind of predicted probably the main starting lineup to have Kendrick and Jerian Grant for that defensive tools that he has. But this time around, it was Lorenzo and Nunn. I don't know how much you can, use this lineup with those 2 guards against teams that have the tools to attack your guards. So ALBA, I think, doesn't, and that we cannot, like you said, make any conclusions out of it. But when you play against the teams that will have the tools to attack those 2 guards that we know are not defensive specialists, I think it'll be more time for Jerian Grant. I also think Cedi Osman could get more time. Now he only played 14 minutes. I think he probably will end up being the starter of this team. So interesting lineups, first of all, for me. Also, I like that connection between Slukas and Yurtseven in that second unit. I think Yurtseven rolls to the rim at the very right times, and of course,
and he's quick.
Costas Slukas finds him. I can see that there's going to be some sort of Slukas and Yurtseven in the second unit as the main guys for creating offense, and then obviously the starting lineup will have their thing.
The crazy stat from this game is that PAO had 21 assists and only 4 turnovers. And I mentioned that next defense that should be like kind of caught you as a surprise. But ALBA has done it so many times. Everybody knows it by now. And the ball handler just gets the ball away. It's an easy pass. It's in an automatic advantage situation. And then Panathinaikos were just shooting wide open. And talking about Osman and, the newcomers from the NBA, Yurtseven, both played 15 minutes, 14 minutes. So it's not a lot of time. I think they're still in the transition period, because I don't expect Cedi Osman to play 14 minutes per game. I thought he was pretty solid in his debut.
Defensively, especially the deflections he had. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I was about to say, he had only 5 points, but he made so many little plays that does not show up on the box score. I think the steal that he makes, usually when the team is trying to pass the outlet pass, the first pass, and he's there he's like faking, he is going back to defense, and then bam, turning around, stealing that ball. I think that could be like a kind of his own trademark little thing, but
like Alvarado with his inbound steal. So this is something in that category.
Something like that. So I thought he was okay. He made a spot up three, made a couple of good passes. Was not doing too much, to be honest, because the other, every time on the court, PAO has Nunn or Slukas or Brown.
So many weapons.
Geraint Grant is also good, in offense. It's not like he plays only defense. So
yeah, and Lazord, reminded us that he's still the man. I don't think we ever forgot, but just every time.
Did you forget in the summer?
No, even in the summer, he didn't let us forget. So
he was played over Rudy Gobert in the Olympics. So
that says a lot. And even against Kumaji, okay, he got like out rebounded. I think Kumaji got 5 offensive rebounds, total 13 rebounds. And the team, I think team rebounding stats is 40-28, and that's probably what really kept ALBA in the game as well, because they weren't shooting well, and those second chances really helped to stay in that 10-point range, the whole game. But not just, it's not just about Lazord here. For me, the point is that Lazord can play 25 minutes, and this season it won't be like last, where when he sits on the bench, you have a headache because, Kostas Antetokounmpo is making mental mistakes, fouling, or making defensive mistakes and all sorts of things. This time around, you have one of the most efficient performances in the team was actually Yurtsevens, 4 of 4 from the field. He played 14 minutes?
Almost 15, yeah.
Yeah, so 8 points, 3 rebounds, I believe. A great stat line for a man you want to replace Lazord for those couple of minutes. So I don't know what his personal goals are in this team. Coming from the NBA, obviously, but if he is okay with this role, I think PAO is going to be very, very, very difficult to contain on defense for other teams in terms of their front line now.
Yeah, their depth is ridiculous, and the biggest question is if Ergin Ataman and the PAO coaching staff can keep players happy, because 14 minutes for Osman, 14 minutes for Yurtseven.
Slukas played 16 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think they used a 10-man rotation, but Nunn played a lot, 32 minutes. I thought, you could split those minutes, divide that a little bit for other guards or position or the wings. So I don't think Kendrick Nunn needs to play 32 against ALBA Berlin, but hey. First game of the season, so good for Nunn. So
and you feel you see the the list on the box score, the players that didn't play, Papa Petru and Kalaitzakis, the 2 wings. Those guys were getting minutes, maybe not the whole season, but they were getting minutes last season. And
they were so important in the quarterfinal series.
Yeah,
both of them.
Kalaitzakis, Papa Petru, who changed the series when he changed Grigonis. So you think about those guys not playing already, and then you think about Ataman's, the way he usually likes to, like I said in the beginning, get down to even a shorter rotation.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who's not gonna get any minutes then? It's really difficult. This time around, Juancho actually had a great game with the three pointers. Sometimes he doesn't, and sometimes he sits on the bench. This time around, he played from the forwards the most minutes. I think 21 minutes. So
I didn't like his defense though. But offensively,
yeah.
Offensively, he was solid. So, but this game is just
it is hard to judge any or make any valuable thoughts out of a game against ALBA Berlin.
It was interesting to see the ideas, the first rotations, and in the official games and all that stuff. But at the same time, there were like 6 minutes played in the second quarter, and guess how many team fouls both teams had after 6 minutes. Zero for both teams. And they were shooting wide open in the half court, in the transition, and it was a up and down game with a lot of shots, a lot of open threes. So.
And congrats to Alba Berlin. I mean, they put up a fight, regardless of what we're talking about them early. And
there will be a lot of thanks for a great fight, Alba Berlin, but that's it.
Well, that's their job. Don't look hopeless on the court with the roster that you have.
Come on now.
Right. Do you have anything else to add about this game, or should we move on?
I think we can move on.
All right.
We can move on, and we'll see more from PAO next week at home against Bayern.
Yeah. Right. The next game then I would like to touch on is Zalgiris and Barcelona, the game we probably saw the most because we watched that game live. You were commentating, I believe. Like you said, actually, in the beginning, when it comes to the final result, not a surprise for me either. Like, I wasn't surprised that Zalgiris was able to beat Barcelona at home, 74-67, opening the season with a win. But I would say there were surprises in the actual game. For me, they started with the lineup that Trinchieri put up in the beginning, because first of all, Giedraitis in the starting lineup. Okay, we know him as the Kevin Punter stopper, Kevin Punter antidote from last season.
Sometimes, not. Okay.
Yeah. But he had those steals in the half court.
In Belgrade.
Memorable moments. Yeah. Memorable moments. Let's say.
There was a different story when they played in Kaunas last year. But
I don't really remember. But
Partizan had like 56 points against Zalgiris.
Okay.
But it was still under Coach Maksvitis.
Okay. But not really the point of what I was trying to say. But Giedraitis, a defensive specialist we know in Zalgiris. Then Butkevičius got assigned to Jabari Parker right away. Then Mirotic, who I think is getting better and better defensively, like on his feet. He's making it back to the paint when he gets drawn out to the perimeter. Tyrone Wallace, oh my God, man. Like, what is this size? I haven't seen a single game of his because he didn't play in the preseason and I didn't watch the domestic league, but I didn't expect him to look so big on the court and match up against Satoransky so well.
He's huge, man.
Yeah, and then obviously Ignas Brazdeikis, another tall guard. So what I'm trying to say from all of this, so many lengthy guys on the court, and that was really apparent in the deflections they had, the defensive effort, the athleticism also that they showed, like surprising in a very, very good way.
That's what Zalgiris is all about this season. Another stat that is kind of, to your point, is that they had only 8 assists and 13 turnovers. And they still won with these numbers.
Sounds like last season's Zalgiris actually was the same story, that they had low assists and a lot of
the difference is
turnovers.
That now this year they have so many different weapons, and you mentioned that size, that strength in the positions. So with this Zalgiris, you not only have the ability to defend multiple positions, but also have the ability to have Tyrone Wallace against Satoransky. Maybe is not a mismatch, but Tyrone Wallace against La Provitola or Juan Nunez is a mismatch. He can just go directly into the post and do that, and he will have that opportunity in the upcoming games even more. Brazdeikis, when he's playing the two, against Kevin Punter, against the same La Provitola, he can do that as well. Matt Mitchell, Edgar Sulanovos, those guys can post up two smaller people, and you don't need to play a set play. If you see a transition cross match after like a missed shot on Barcelona, we saw like Matt Mitchell just ask for the ball, give me the ball into the post, I will back my man down under the rim and either make a layup or pass to an open teammate. So many weapons in Zalgiris this season, and it was actually fun to watch. And it's like this, the position and size and winning with 8 assists, because you have so many individual advantages all over the court.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a perfect game from Zalgiris either. They missed shots. They made mistakes. Of course, we can talk about the second half where they got stuck on offense, and then I think it was more about Barcelona's defense that improved a lot from the first half. The first half, Barcelona's paint and communication on defense was not existent. I mean, Augustas Blazevicius, okay, he has that elite skill of driving and then finishing at the rim, of course, but I feel like if you know this information, you can adjust accordingly and maybe give him more space on the perimeter and help a little bit. He was just going in like there was nobody in that paint and just finishing up, and the same with Wallace. So I feel like they first of all, what they did was the aggressiveness and pressure from the very first minutes of the third quarter that got Zalgiris out of rhythm right away. And Tyrone Wallace had a horrific start of that period. And probably the reason why he didn't really play much more after, because a hard start to that quarter, then Francisco gets hot, and you kind of, why would you put him back in if
you ride the wave,
Yeah. But otherwise, like you said, many weapons, shooters. I mean, we knew David Servidas, Eurocup's top scorer, coming in as a sharpshooter who's going to be used of off-ball screens and stagger screens and all that. He got his shots in. I don't know if he got all of them in. I don't remember the exact
2 or 3.
Yeah. Then you don't even have Brady Manick yet, who is going to be used even more on those off-ball movements. And guys like Arnas Butkevičius, who's known for being a defensive glue guy, sort of. He's shooting like he's supposed to be the guy who got the play drawn on, because I feel like Trinchieri, what he's doing is encouraging everyone to just shoot if you have the opportunity, and it's so apparent this season, the three-pointers they're shooting. And I think it reflects on the offensive rebounds they had, because of how, when you shoot a three-pointer, the ball bounces further.
Rebound.
Yeah, and the efforts and defensive rebounds they had also, I think, was a big factor for them to win this game.
It's shooting threes helps to get more offensive rebounds, but at the same time, in the second quarter, I think Matt Mitchell and Arnas Butkevičius there were 2 instances where these 2 guys are just flying from the opposite corner to just tap the ball for someone else. Zalgiris gets a rebound, and then the same guy that actually tapped the ball, and I'm not sure if when you tap the ball, you get the offensive rebound.
I think so.
Or the guy that catches the ball.
I'm
not sure.
I think you do.
Okay.
According to NBA 2K.
Okay.
At least. I don't know.
And then Matt Mitchell tapped the ball. He got a score in the same possession. Butkevičius got 2, I think, deflections in the same possession.
I remember one very clearly.
That was huge.
He runs from the sideline, sort of, and just jumps up, tips
and
the ball.
He did that twice in the same possession and got a 3-pointer. Actually, he was awarded. When coaches say, "Stay patient, you will get rewarded," he got it instantly. So. Zalgiris fought hard. I think they, of course, the atmosphere, first game under new fans. But it's also the reason that this team, what's different from last year is that, all these guys, a lot of these players are new to the EuroLeague or are eager to show themselves. Tyrone Wallace, first year in the EuroLeague. Francisco, he wants to... after one season in the EuroLeague, he wants to prove that he can reach that new level, and
he did.
We'll talk about him later, but he did. Blazevicius, he wants to prove that year in Olympiacos was just nonsense. Just because there were a lot of players in front of him, bad preseason, blah blah blah. And Matt Mitchell, first year in the EuroLeague as well. So Servidas, first year in the EuroLeague. You have a hungry team. And I think we saw that yesterday, except for that third quarter where Barcelona really, their energy was all over the place. And it was pretty hard for Zalgiris actually to stop the bleeding. Yeah. Only 7 points in that quarter. A lot of chaos. Way too much chaos. I would say non-organized attacks and all that stuff. And they needed, heroics from not Keenan Evans anymore, but this time the guy was Sylvain Francisco. But I think what Trinchieri emphasized after the game is that this is a team effort, and it's true, because I don't expect it always the guy to be Sylvain Francisco. I expect in every game Zalgiris finds its leaders depending on the matchup. So, but what he did in the fourth quarter was ridiculous, spectacular, insane. Wow, I mean,
that
sent
highlight
Abrinas back to Barcelona.
Yeah, that's the highlight I was gonna highlight because crazy crossover, and then the pause. You give that moment a second to breathe.
He watched him fall down. He was like, "Okay, man."
Yeah.
I expected him to do that. When he just draw the line around you and then shoot. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah. The clutch plays from Francisco, of course. Iggy also. I mean, like you said, team win because of Dunstan. Even you don't expect Brian Dunstan to be that valuable, but I think he was energy, rebounding, defense under the rim still there.
16 minutes, 0 points, only one shot taken, but plus minus in those 16 minutes, plus 10. So he was there defensively. A couple of times, he got beaten. That will happen. But
also talking about rotations, Trinchieri, first quarter, managed to use all 12 guys. We've been talking about this way of Andrea Trinchieri, that he likes to really use a lot of players and give them quite a bit of minutes, and he sort of just looks for the right guys in that moment to be on the court. Doesn't matter, what your status in the team is, and I think that's something that Alen Smailagic will have to accept as a reality. He hasn't had a good start to the season in the domestic league. Now he plays only 4 minutes. He didn't really do anything good or bad on the court. He was all right. I think he didn't, there was not enough time to know what he's gonna, what kind of a game he's gonna have. But the fact that we know he is the highest paid player and he's only 24 years old, I feel like that's a lot of pressure. And for him,
he's outside of Serbia.
Yeah, and he's not playing at home. He was in Golden State at some point, but that was a different story.
He's not a domestic player in the EuroLeague anymore. And, you expect foreigners to really deliver. And if they're the highest paid player, I expected a lot from him, to be honest. But it seems like he has lost confidence already. I really hope he regains that pretty soon. But just from his facial expressions, just from his posture, I would say even pre-game, because I was there in the gym like 2 hours before the game. I saw every player warm up, and you just look at him, and it seems like he doesn't really feels like he belongs in the team right now. I mean, Brady Manick is injured. That's his
you
position,
would think, right?
That's his position. You would think this would mean that you would get more minutes, you will play more, you get your confidence up, you start the season nicely. Now you have a domestic league game without Brady Manick. Smailagic plays like 9 minutes. Three instances of like 3 minutes, and Trinchieri just subs him out because he's fouling everywhere. Just bad decisions, doesn't catch the ball. We knew we would see him, but
he didn't play 9 minutes. That's what I was thinking. He played 4 minutes 25 seconds according to the
yesterday.
Oh, you're talking about
in the domestic league on Sunday or Saturday. He played like 9.
Okay,
and now he plays 4 minutes in 2 games without Brady Manick. That's a total of 13 minutes. So Zalgiris has to do something, because you just can't have your highest paid player playing these minutes, but at the same time, just Smailagic also has to give way more to the team, because he has the tools. He just needs to, fix things in his head, mental mistakes and all of that stuff.
Yeah, The rotations, 26 minutes is the longest someone played, and that was Wildest Gytis. If anyone asked me before the game if that would be the case, I would never have guessed that Gytis would play the most minutes out of all these guys.
He has been playing a lot in the preseason.
Okay.
And his defense...
I think that's what, Trinchieri really appreciates, that you can have a guy who can be very, very valuable on both sides of the court. Now
Exactly.
we see him offensively getting better, and that's what's a scary proposition, like he's a young guy, he's getting better. I feel like, in a few years we'll be talking about Gytis in a very different light, as a very, very valuable guy for every EuroLeague team.
Exactly. I have spoken, to some European scouts, and a lot of them are saying that we would love to have him on a EuroLeague team. Like, I would sign him as, obviously not a first option, but as the guy who can defend the best player of other teams and be great in the closeout situations and to be aggressive when needed. So he has a bright future ahead of him, but I think we have to give more flowers to Sylvain Francisco. Mm-hmm. And he himself mentioned Vasilis Panoulis after the game. Mm-hmm. And obviously because his last three-pointer, which was the decisive dagger. Mm-hmm. That sidestep is from Spanoulis, and he was coached by Spanoulis 2 seasons ago in Peristere. Incredible shot making from Francisco. He was struggling with the shot in the preseason. I think he shot like around 25% from long range. So to see him go off like this for 15 points in the fourth quarter, just using his speed, I thought it was amazing. Barcelona,
yeah, let's talk about that. Like we said, defensively, first half, lack of communication on defense or understanding. I feel like, especially when Chimeze Metu was on the court, it was very apparent it's his first EuroLeague, experience. Like, okay, he played FIBA basketball, all that, but the communication on defense, you could see Jan Vesely screaming at him, you go up, or whatever. That was, that was very apparent, I think. And in terms of, I don't know if you want to add anything about defense and how they looked in the first half.
Kevin Punter, I think, was targeted, by Trinchieri, and especially in the first quarter when Zalgiris got a lot of easy points at the rim. They would just leave one guy at the top, defended by Punter, and they would just set the screen change the angle of the screen at the last moment.
And it's hard for him to get around those.
For him, it's hard for the big guy. Zalgiris just scored a lot of easy points and got some nice rhythm early. And they were way better in the third quarter. Chimeze Metu did some errors on, concentration, I would say. But with him, I think Willie played only a couple of minutes in the fourth quarter in the second half. He was not chosen to start the third quarter just because of his defense. So, and that combination of Punter and Willie in defense did not work in the first half, and that's why Peñarroya went away from that in the second half. But I don't know, not a really convincing performance from Barcelona. It's tough. A couple of newcomers playing big roles coming in, but
offensively, though, I would say at least much more potential offensively than last year. Last year it was really hard to watch this team on offense. I think we were talking about the Brick City, FC Brick City Barcelona a lot. This year they have Kevin Punter, and that already adds a lot. Justin Anderson, I don't know, like he can have a better offensive output than he had so far. They still got La Provito. I mean, there's a bit more potential now, I feel like, than last year in terms of their offense. But you can't live off some random shots every game. And again, we should give credit to Zalgiris defense. Zalgiris defense is hard to deal with, and we'll probably see it more and more as the season progresses with other teams. Now it's hard to judge off one game, but I think that was a huge part of it. Kevin Punter was really struggling to create shots. The ones that he got in were, because he is Kevin Punter, but otherwise it wasn't an easy game for him.
Nothing easy for him. Zalgiris did a great job, on pick and rolls and one-on-one defense. I thought they did a solid job. So hard night for Barcelona, but
Do you see them the potential for them to be much better than what they looked like yesterday? Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they can look much better.
You know, I'm judging them by a high standard. I'm the standard is Final Four for me, for Barcelona. Right now, I don't think they look like that, but it's just game one, so it's super early. Do they have the tools? I think they do, but there's a long road for them to, you know, if they want to get there.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Last game we're going to talk about is Baskonia, who opened their season at home with a tough win against Partizan. I think, first of all, I just wanted to say that I'm very happy about a couple of guys that I saw in this game and on both sides, on both teams. First of all, I'm talking about Dante Hall, who was the second, third guy in the center rotation in Monaco, and now he's the main guy, and I'm always excited to see him play. And those, you know, high-flying blocks, dunks, athleticism, always nice to see. So I'm very happy for him that he's getting the time that, you know, maybe he couldn't have in Monaco. Second guy,
four blocks by him in 22 minutes. Baskonia had 6 blocks and Partizan had 0.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That's one big stat there. Another guy I wanted to say I'm happy for is Brandon Davies, who got out of a losing Milano system, at least for the last few years. And I'm just happy to see him in a team where, you know, it's a different just a different situation at the moment. Okay, they're rebuilding all that. He's playing for Željko, but he was playing a very good game, by the way. But just to see him out of there, I was happy. And I feel like Partizan has the potential to make the playoffs, unlike Milano, in my opinion. And then there's also TLC, who was in the bottom team, you know, as well. And now we see him as one of these, like a second scoring option after Marcus Howard in this team. So those 3 guys, I feel like I was very happy for seeing them in this on both sides of this game. So, do you want to?
It was an exciting match.
Yeah,
it was an exciting match, and a lot of runs from both teams. Huge plays, amazing dunks. So
yeah,
it was a game full of highlights, and you know, Luau Cabarro with that dunk in the transition really surprised me. Tyreek Jones.
Well, you're gonna hear a lot of Tyreek Jones on this podcast this season, I think.
We might have said his name too much last year. Like expected too much, a little bit too much in his first rookie season.
Because he had a couple of very, very promising performances at first. We were hyped, so naturally, you know, how we got hyped about Moses Wright when he got signed and got good performances in a similar, you know, play style that he has.
Right.
I feel like, you know, you shouldn't expect now that, you know, today they're going to play, but like, it's just natural to get hyped. And the type of game he plays, it's really easy to get hyped. I think I don't know if you'll agree, is he the most athletic guy in the EuroLeague at the moment?
He definitely reminds me Matthias Lesor in Partizan jersey.
Yeah.
So he's among the top, I would say. I would still give this title to Josh Nebo, though.
Okay. Yeah.
That dude just jumps through the roof.
But the skill set of Tyreek, what I liked a lot was, for example, him facing up his matchup on the high post, and then like a little jab step, a couple of dribbles, then he pivots on his foot, and then, you know, finishes over. I don't remember who was guarding him. I think Dante Hall probably.
Dante Hall.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so this guy can not just like finish off pick and rolls or off offensive rebounds or stuff like that, but you can give him the ball and he can try to get it into the paint and, you know, finish there. So I'm very, very impressed with Tyreek Jones. I think he's going to be, I mean, let's not put the expectations too high, but I think he's going to be one of those guys we'll talk about as
more
like a breakout season, that type of conversation.
From Partizan, I would say they were the better team for like 30 minutes in this match for the first 3 quarters. Their defense was really putting pressure on Baskonia in the first quarter.
In the first half, probably.
Deflections.
Yeah.
a lot of deflections. I mean, their size, you could see that this is the new Partizan, you know, just making it not comfortable for you. Chima Moneke, I think, had 2 plays where the ball was just stripped for him, and Partizan just went out in the transition and got easy points. We were not seeing that last season. I mean, basically because they were allowing 95 points in an away game. And okay, Baskonia scored a lot in this match.
In the second half, a lot. First half was 32 points. Second half, if it was 88 to 56, then
56 points, yeah. So in the fourth quarter, I think Partizan really let go of that defense. A couple of shots went in. Trent Forrest had a banked in 3-pointer.
Like at the last seconds of the clock as well.
Yes,
some of those
exactly.
that you think you had a great defensive possession and then bang like that.
And I think in the fourth quarter, what happened is that Partizan as well had 14 fouls already with 7 minutes, I think, left to play. So I think Baskonia got 6 free throws out of that later in the fourth quarter just because they couldn't spend a foul there.
Yeah.
But actually, it would be interesting to count how many times Partizan had like a 6-point lead in this game, because it was kind of similar to PAO ALBA. Partizan up 6, Marcus Hauer hits a free.
Yeah.
Somebody else hits a free, and then the game is tied again. So I liked what I saw from Partizan in the first game. Still a lot of things to figure out. I think, Dwayne Washington not playing.
One of the
reasons.
One of the guys.
Isaiah Mike for the 4 position. Because now they're forced to play Tyreek Jones and Brandon Davies, and those 2 guys had great games. Both scored, 20 points each? But at the same time, your spacing is not always right. And
I mean, Davis was hitting his 3-pointers, which was something that surprised, I think.
In the pick and pop situations. But it's still, when he's playing the 4th position, or Tyreek Jones is playing the 4th position, the opponents are still helping in the paint. And they're okay living with those guys taking long shots. So, but...
the rotations-wise, like you said, they played 8 guys this game. Only 8 guys had minutes from Partizan, so it's crazy.
So really a lot of things to figure it out, but I just like that finally they have defensive potential. And I think offensively they will be better. Karlik Jones will be better. I think Sterling Brown was a little bit too passive in this match. I saw him really differently in the preseason.
Yeah.
So
he's one of the top scorers of the team in the ALBA league so far. They only played a few games, 2 games, I believe, but still. And talking about Karlik Jones, his debut in the EuroLeague, we had a lot of hype on him, obviously. I feel like he was great when he was trying to get into the paint, driving to the rim, and then either dishing it out to the outside or finishing, or actually, finding someone under the rim. But when he settled for those mid-range shots, that's where he wasn't that effective. So I hope that, I know that he is able to make that shot. It's just not the most efficient shot in the game, as the science says, let's say, as the stats say. The NBA has, taught us about it a lot. So I feel like he's more efficient when he is more aggressive and goes all the way, or tries to go all the way, than settles for that mid-range shot.
I thought what really cost Partizan the game was that Baskonia were actually good. And I'll be honest, I did not expect to see that. And it's only one game, so you can't really make any conclusions. But I liked what I saw from Baskonia. I liked what I saw from TLC. You already gave kudos to him. I thought Tadas Sedekerskis was perfect in the limited offensive role that he had. He made a couple of threes, I think, and he was so great at cutting. He shot 6 times in 27 minutes. He made 5 of them, and 3 2-pointers. All of those 3, if I'm not mistaken, were after just basically cutting. Like Trent Forrest is playing the pick and roll. he cuts at the perfect time, gets an easy score because at the same time, this is what I wanted to say about Davies. When he's playing the 4 position or guarding a perimeter, Sedekerskis or Chima Moneke, he's not that used to guarding off the ball because when he's at the center position,
he's under the rim
or the defending the pick and roll.
Yeah.
Now he has to adjust a little bit at the same time, him or Tariq Jones. And those two guys, they did great offensively, but I think defensively they lost a couple of times. These cuts, these off-the-ball movements.
Yeah.
And Baskonia used that for three-pointers or easy layups. But I liked what I saw from Baskonia defensively as well. I thought last year they were...
No, they were definitely an offense-heavy team last year.
Yeah, and now I think they have a better fit around Marcus Howard. Trent Forrest is a big body, I think a big guy for the point guard position.
He's like, for me, of course, you can't say he's like Cody Miller-McIntyre replacement exactly, but like he's like an all-around guy. He can get the ball, get the rebounds, dish the ball. He can score. That's the game he had really, like 10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Might not expect a triple-double like from the man, but I really enjoyed his debut. For this team. Also, Marcus Howard, I feel like he's gonna have a much better season this year because of Pablo Lasso. I'm not sure if it's Pablo Lasso's orders or is it Marcus Howard changing his ways, but I saw way more driving, being aggressive, and instead of just settling for those step back 3-pointers that he really likes. Like last season, it was not a surprise to see 11 shots from 3 from Marcus Howard. This game, he shot 6 3-pointers. He caught to the rim a lot of times. He's still not maybe looking for those assists as much as we probably would want from a guard, but I feel like he was much more aggressive going to the rim, and it was very, very successful and helped the team in a big way.
He's there to score.
Yeah, I know. And he's doing it.
He knows it too.
Yeah,
he knows it too. And he feels that way too.
Yeah. Who else on Baskonia? I guess we kind of talked about pretty much everyone. Everyone had Chima. Okay, Chima had a tough start to the game. He shot 5 threes, only made 1, and that was in the second half. But generally speaking, I think his first points maybe were in the second half, actually.
No, he had two free throws in the first quarter.
Okay. Oh, okay. So first field goal maybe in the second half. So one of those guys that you see from last season as the leader, together with Howard. I feel like he did what he had to with his energy alone. Like his energy sometimes just can get him back in the game where he isn't performing as well in the first half. He can just like keep going, keep grinding, and get to his stat line, and
I think
did what he needed to do.
I think he shot the ball
too much.
No. The shot selection was kind of off. I think maybe he wasn't scoring as early as he would wanted.
Yeah,
a couple of those threes were a little bit rushed. He was not getting spot up attempts, from created by other guys. So he had to create for himself after the dribble. There are better ways for Chima to score, on the court. So, but Baskonia won.
Yeah.
They looked good, so I'm really intrigued to see how their season is going on from here.
Also, let's not forget Baskonia, how they look at home and how they look away. Usually, it's a very different story. So
exactly,
that was a home game. We'll see if their first away game and if they can keep the same energy. I mean, Baskonia crowd actually was surprisingly as usual, but I always forget that they are as passionate as they are. So, right. That game is done with, I think. Let's move on to the last 2 little side topics we had. So one of them being the top 10 EuroLeague players rating. We're doing this for the 3rd year in a row on our website, BasketNews.com. And basically 39 people voted. There were general managers, head coaches, scouts, non-EuroLeague players, BasketNews crew members, and then some other select media from across Europe. and everyone was ranking the players with what their potential is. Is it like MVP candidate? Is it a first EuroLeague team? Is it just a solid starter on a playoff team? Or, is it just the rest of the best and stuff like that? What we got was a top 10 that I could now quickly go through if I find the link. Oh, I don't. Oh, man.
I can do that.
You can do it. Okay, let's go to the top 10 and then talk about what's surprising in there.
At 10, Nikola Mirotic. At 9, we have Janan Musa. At 8, we have Wade Baldwin. At 7, we have Shane Larkin. 6, Matias Lazor. At 5, Eddie Tavares. 4, Facundo Campazzo. 3, Mike James. Number 2, K Nunn. And number 1, Sasha Vezenkov. What do you think,
Well, so obviously one thing that stands out right away is Nikola Mirotic being at 10, knowing in context that we had the same ranking last few years and he was second. Now he's all the way down to 10. Obvious reasons are Milano's season last year and his injuries that kept him out of the game for half of the season. But if you're ranking the player itself, I wouldn't put him as low in my opinion. What do you think?
Would you? What guys that were ranked above him would you drop?
Yeah, let's see. Okay, I would put.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't anyone?
Nah, I agree with this.
Okay.
Let's say I agree with Mirotic's position.
I feel like it's just the situation he's in that's making him this low. Like
that's his decision. He didn't want pressure. He went to the place where they were not in the playoffs for the last couple of years. I don't know how many successful seasons there were in Milano in the last 10 years, to be honest, except that one with Delaney and Kevin Punter and Chacho there. So
another thing I would swap, although I understand the impact of this person, Eddie Tavares, I would swap with Matias Lazor, in my opinion. I'm more about the offensive output that Matias has rather than the defensive impact that Eddie has. And I know, like, even we're going to get to this GM survey that we had, that every GM would start building their team around Tavares, actually. That's one of the things that was asked. And
we'll get there.
And I just don't know. I feel like Matias Lazor is in some kind of a unhumanly shape at the moment, and I would put him over Eddie, in my opinion.
What do you think about Nigel Hayes-Davis being at the 12th spot?
Out of it?
Yeah.
Well, but
I would swap him for Mirotic.
Really? Okay.
Because
I don't know.
Because
it's so disrespectful towards Mirotic because he was just.
But don't forget defensive side too.
Okay, I know. But he's even with the season he had, he didn't play that many games. He was scoring 17 points a game, one of the top scorers of the league. Okay, the defense.
But Milano didn't really have.
I know. I understand, and I also would like not to disrespect Nigel Hayes-Davis, who has told me personally that I always disrespect him on the podcast or something like that. So 100% Nigel should be in here, but I'm just saying.
Right.
It's hard to not, it's hard to include so many great guys in 10 spots.
Okay, let's get the diplomatic bullshit here. Would you take Nigel Hayes-Davis to your EuroLeague team as the starting power forward or Nikola Mirotic?
Nigel.
Honestly,
because of the defensive stuff more than anything.
So he should be higher on this list than Mirotic, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for getting.
I don't know, man. It's just. Yeah, I guess. It's just the fact that Nikola was the guy in Barcelona. Okay.
Keyword. You said it yourself.
Nigel was behind him in the rotation, sort of.
Was.
That's true, man. You're so smart. Another thing, Kendrick Nunn over Mike James. Isn't it too early? What do you think?
It's so hard to tell.
Mike James really just coming off of an MVP season. I know a former MVP just returned, so first spot we can give to Sasha Vezenkov, no question. Or we could
But
question it. But
at the same time, to me, the top 3 is just your preferences actually, because Sasha Vezenkov is an elite player. I love to watch him. At the same time, when the game is on the line, I would rather have Mike James or Kendrick Nunn in my team. So I don't really know how I should rank these guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I would probably still choose Mike over Kendrick Nunn, just because the efficiency is
that's one of the things.
Way into the Mike's side. So I would put Mike higher.
And Mike creates for others way more, I think, than Kendrick, because Mike looks for other guys better. I feel like he has better vision, more experience, and he's less. I don't know how to say it. Not like that Kendrick is a selfish player or anything, but the fact that Kendrick just holds the ball for too long sometimes, and that results in turnovers instead of where he could just, pass it out. And generally, Mike can get into the paint, find an open man. You just need to make shots. We've been talking about Monaco all the time as a team that just needs to make shots. So,
and just the environment that the two players are in. You look at what Kendrick has around in Panathinaikos. I mean, the level of talent around him is, I think, better than what Mike has in Monaco. And in the last couple of seasons, there were no spacing whatsoever there for him to score. So it makes it tougher for Mike, and he still got better percentages last season.
But Kendrick's argument could be, I got the chip, you don't,
For sure. But I think you have to look when trying to rank these players. It's super hard, but you just have to look at the environments that they're also in. So
and it was very close, by the way. Kendrick Nunn got 158 points and Mike got 156. So it's just by 2-point difference. The places are how they are. Right.
Let's go to the GM survey.
Yeah, just let's see. Like, there were 3 parts of it. One of them was about the signings, mostly about the offseason. What were the best offseason? What was the best offseason signing individually? Which team had the best offseason? Then another one was what was the most creative signing, and who would you pick in a hypothetical EuroLeague draft to build your team around as a number 1 pick? So, like I said, Eddie Tavares was the first in that category that I just mentioned, the first draft pick that people would get. 46% of the GMs would pick him. He won it last year as well. What do you think about that?
I don't know. His impact is insane defensively, but I'm really not sure if I would start my team with Eddie Tavares out of all the EuroLeague players.
Second place was Kendrick Nunn.
Who was third?
Matthias Lesor. So another center, 2 centers and a guard.
I don't know.
it's I don't know. Like I feel like the basketball we're watching is more about the guards these days, the modern basketball. So I would start with the guard. And if we're talking about the top 10 EuroLeague players, and one of those is Kendrick Nunn or Mike James, that would be my starting point at least. I would go with the guard.
Yeah, it's just
probably Mike James.
It's just weird that Tavares is the number 1. His impact in the paint is insane. I know the numbers are also insane, but at the same time, he's not getting any younger, and offensively, I think his impact is somewhat limited these days. So if the opposing team has a good shooting center, you'll just play Tavares out of the game if he is really that good. It's hard to have a shooting center. Not everybody does, but you can play you can play Real Madrid having Tavares, or any team having Tavares on the court to your favor.
A
little bit.
Yeah, you can use it.
So
like you say.
He's great. He would be in the top first 5 picks for me, but maybe not number 1. That's what I'm arguing here. But some weird choices to me was that for the EuroLeague MVP, Boban Marjanovic and Elijah Bryant got votes.
Yeah.
With all due respect, but seriously?
No, I don't know how that happened, honestly.
Boban Marjanovic and Elijah Bryant,
Where did you
MVP votes?
Wait, sorry. There are so many articles that Donatas puts out. It's hard to keep track. So, where is this MVP one?
Okay, while you go through it, is another topic that's caught my attention was
so they got votes. They didn't win.
They did not win, but they got votes. So
But Elijah Bryant, for
Boban
the MVP.
Marjanovic, it's not
2017
or whatever.
2014, 15 when he won it.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is
I
weird.
don't
It is
expect him
weird.
to play large minutes, and so how can he get
have
the
no
MVP?
idea. Probably got one vote, and that's why he's here, and that's someone trolling.
But not a lot of, not a lot of EuroLeague GMs voted. So
I mean, one of them has a good sense of humor, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea.
whatever. But most creative signing, Boban.
Yeah, I agree with this.
Last year, you know who won this category?
No,
Kemba Walker.
because he's from the NBA and he's a big star. So I guess,
But it didn't
it's
really
just the
work
biggest
out.
name, the biggest not the biggest name necessarily in terms of the game, but just in terms of like Hollywood stocks.
I'm not sure. I can understand Boban more than Kemba though, just because Fenerbahce really needed a big who can protect the rim, and he was kind of an out of nowhere option. So I can get there, but I just don't think he will have this much of an impact. And best of season for Fener,
I don't know. I was gonna say
I don't agree with this.
you don't. So who had the better offseason, Olympiacos?
To me, or Olympiacos or Panathinaikos? I think Fener,
and it's 46%. It's almost half of the
exactly.
games.
I was so excited after Wade Baldwin and Bonzi Carlson signed. And Nicola Melli, amazing player. I think he will do great. But I was just waiting for a big name at the center too.
Yeah.
And now they have covered that position with, they have like 3 guys now, completely different roles, plus Nicola Melli, who is another great option at the center. But at the same time, there's not one big name. And I don't know if Kem Birch and Boban, how those two are going to look like. That's why they have clauses in their contracts that they can, it's not guaranteed deals. So if they would have signed at really powerful center, then I would have agreed. Now I think it's Olympiacos or Panathinaikos.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, I kind of, my opinion, I don't know what weight it has, but I was kind of like surprised at first, but then I thought, really, like Fenerbahce did the right steps to build their team. And I mean, Olympiacos added big names, Panathinaikos added big names, but Fenerbahce for me added, except for let's say the center rotation, added the right names, like that seem like they're gonna work out, in my opinion. I don't know yet. We'll see the game against Olympiacos today and really evaluate it. I wouldn't disagree with this as much as you probably would. So yeah.
Any other
surprises? I'm not surprised that 61% want to keep the Final Four instead of playoff series, because that's what we've been hearing. What else is there? You know what surprised me actually? From the teams that should get non-licensed EuroLeague teams that deserve long-term license the most, London Lions got a vote. Or some votes. A team that was pretty much extinct almost before Zalgiris saved it. That's the team that deserves the long-term license.
And not Partizan or Zvezda or Monaco.
Partizan won actually this category with 46%. Zvezda was second with Monaco split. So yeah, but that London Lions was mentioned. It was just a surprising name to see here in this list. Right, I think we covered everything.
That's it.
Unfortunately, the most exciting game of this EuroLeague Round 1 is today, and we won't be talking about it tomorrow. I would have preferred if we had that game to talk about because of how big it's going to be. Fenerbahce against Olympiacos. I'm very excited for that game. The other 2 games are all right, but
All right.
all right. Like,
All right.
since both of them start, since both of them start after the final game with Olympiacos, I will choose one of those. We'll see which one's more competitive, I guess.
And next week we'll have I'm not sure how many times this have happened in the EuroLeague history, but we will have 3 game days.
Oh yeah, it has happened for sure. But yeah, we'll have a game on Wednesday as well.
2 games on Wednesday.
2 games.
So yeah. some schedule adjustments, I would say, early.
Yeah.
Hope to see more of that as the season progresses.
Right. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. This is one of the most important things in my life, that you guys take the 1 second it takes to hit that subscribe button and show the love, appreciation, and like the video, of course. It helps us push out this podcast to more people. Get that discussion going in the comments, and we'll see you in the next episode.